Hello my friends, I hope you're doing well. In this video I thought I'd hop on here and share my July favorites, and they do kind of amount to a full face, so we've got a very well-rounded stash of things in my little favorites basket here. So I thought if I'm gonna just be shooting demos for every little thing, let's just make it a full face application style video, right? And then I thought at the end I would also share my sort of my coming attractions, the things for the next month that I think are gonna be really like hot for me going forward, okay? Let's clip some hair out of the face. Check this out, new growth. New postpartum hair coming in. A sort of rediscovered but recently repurchased foundation that has really been great for me lately is this L'Oreal Visible Lift Serum Absolute Foundation. I say rediscovered because I had this in the past, but I more recently repurchased it because I was like, oh yeah, I remember that being like kind of a loved product for a little slice of time on YouTube, and it says luminous makeup result, but it actually looks a little bit matte as it goes across the skin. You'll see what I mean when I get it on. I have it in the shade Creamy Natural. It has SPF 17 in it, does have a pump. And for me, I mean, this blends out easily. It's a really good medium coverage, so I'm gonna give myself a pump of this. Maybe just a teeny bit extra and dab it around. And this was mentioned in my 5 times the drugstore did it better than high-end video, if this is sounding familiar to you. It's just such a beautiful formula, and I'm going to use my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. I'm actually going to purchase like the full size of this. I'm still using this little mini, which works fine. It's a full-size brush head, but a mini handle. But like, look at that finish. I mean, you can see a little bit of luminosity, like kind of a natural radiance, but yet it's not like dewy. And the tone is like really good for my skin, and there's a thinness to it as well. But despite its thinness, it's doing a lot. That's kind of why I compared it to Pat McGrath. It was kind of doing all the things I sort of wanted out of that foundation for that crazy high price. See, it has kind of a velvety radiance to it, if that makes any sense. I can tell there's some mattification on the face, but yet there is still a little bit of glow. Somebody asked, why don't you really like make a big effort to go over your eyelid area with your foundations and concealers? And I don't, because I usually plan to do eye makeup there, and I feel like it's just added layers of weight on the skin, you know, added stuff that can gunk up the works. So I pretty much don't apply much of anything, and then I get my eye primer on and I just do, you know, my eye look. I just think that's a beautiful sheen on the skin. Then been using the heck out of this lately. This is my Tarte CC Under Eye Corrector, and this I have in the shade Light Medium, and I just love what this does for the under eye circle area, for a little bit of melasma you might have. Who knows what you're dealing with on your skin, but it's very nicely corrective and kind of brightening too, hence why I'm taking it sort of in the center of the face also. For me, it's kind of like a texture I craved from the Benefit Erase Paste from many moons ago, you know? It's that kind of feel, it's that kind of coverage. So I was just glad I finally tried it. It's not a new thing here from Tarte. I know it's been around for a while. I guess I just didn't expect this much out of it, and I thought it was going to be a drier product. I was not expecting it to have this much moisture, because they call it colored clay, and a lot of the things, like you think of that Amazonian clay line, and I think of some of the things being more geared toward oil control. But this really, you know, not just brightens, but I do feel there's a nice corrective, camouflaging, perfecting thing happening here. I'm so happy with that. I think that looks so good. Here's another little gem that I've come to over the course of this month, the e.l.f. Cream Contour Palette. Love this. This is so easy to blend on the skin. The tones are great. I love using it with my little Sephora Pro Mini Flawless Airbrush, but also something like this, you know, would work fine. I just kind of reserve that for my concealers and foundations. I'm gonna roll into this shade right here, and they blend so well. So if I feel like going for more of a cream look instead of powder, I just love the textures. They're not overly sticky. They're not gonna leave you feeling like, wow, I've really got a thick cream on the skin, but they just sheer out and blend beautifully. A lot of times I go down to this shade right here, get a little contour going. I mean, you can get just a beautifully like sort of chiseled looking cheek. And then there's this lighter shade here, which kind of, you know, it makes me think a little bit more of being like a light bronzer. I might bring it up a little higher, you know, a little bit more where the sun might hit. And this is making me want to get into the cream blushes. I feel like at one time maybe I had tried those, but a lot of people commented in the e.l.f. video where I was talking about this, they said they liked the cream blushes. And then, you know, I might go into this light creamy shade, which can act like an extra supercharged brightener, and I might just take it right over this zone. Like, there's coverage in that product, you know, it's kind of a unique thing. Most of the time with cream highlight and contour stuff, I feel like the cream we're getting on the highlight side is going to be a shimmer, but here it's just like something you can use to sort of enhance your coverage. So these three products, I got my coverage, I've got my correction, and then my contour, giving the skin some extra dimension. Those three things come together so nicely on the skin. And then here's a little something that I feel like some of you guys, when I was talking about Hourglass, some of you had encouraged me to get a little more use out of my diffused light, like the ambient lighting powders in general, but this is the one I have. And so many people were just saying how the texture of these powders like never looks heavy on the skin, and that's why you enjoy them so much. And so it made me kind of want to find purpose for this product, you know, because it's called diffused light. It is like kind of brightening on the skin, but here's what I like to do, and I find myself using this particularly when I put that e.l.f. It's not e.l.f., it's the Tarte corrector, and I use it just sort of to boom, 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 brighten up and set this area. This kind of top of the cheek place here, where sometimes you can look a little bit shadowed, like right in there. And I feel like this does brighten up. It sets it and it kind of perfects the area too. And then I may also take it, you know, just right center of the face. But see, that is a really nice, like little sneaky powder. And I just feel like I wanted a way to use this. I wanted a way to make it like relevant in my collection again, and I feel like that really does work. And then I didn't necessarily pick this as a favorite, but my L'Oreal True Match powder, always good. I wear it in buff beige, and just for the purposes of setting the whole rest of my skin, I'm not going to go over where I put the Hourglass powder, but just kind of gently go over the rest of the face. Just helps my staying power a little bit. I feel like I'm trying to be semi-quiet because I know I've got like 3 kids just down the hall, all sleeping. My next favorite is for sure this Will Powder Blush Quad from The Balm. I love this so much. Now they've tried to make it very like eco-friendly packaging for recycling purposes, you know, so there's no magnet, but there is this little guy. Sometimes I forget about it and I just try to like pop it open, but no, there's that little tuck-in that happens. That's okay. But what we have here is kind of like a berry blush, 2 shimmery blushes, and one of the prettiest highlights ever. Even if I don't use this for blush and I just grab something else that I'm trying, I feel like I'm still coming back to this palette for the highlight, if nothing else. But yeah, let's put on a little bit of this Stamina shade. So this, when sheared out, just gives you a pretty kind of rosy, natural looking flush. I'm just using my e.l.f. blush brush today. See what I mean? It's just pure color and it's beautiful, and I'm trying to just not get too much on my brush and build it up little by little because I know that shade can really go places. The joy in putting on a beautiful blush, like it never gets old, does it? It never gets old. Somehow it looks so radiant even though that's matte, you know? Oh, just joyous, just joyous. Okay, and then I'm gonna take Worth the Wait, which is the highlight here, get a little bit on, and it's just, I mean, it could be absolutely like a blinding highlight if you want it to be, but I really blend it in. And I think what makes it really special to me is that it's got a little pinky tone in there. And as that pinky tone shears out on the skin, it looks like extra brightening, like more than even a champagne highlight or anything that seems to have like a little bit of a warmth to it. Like this is kind of cooler and icier than I think it even appears in the pan. It's a really beautiful highlight, and I will not be shocked if they end up releasing that as like a single product. Just a little glow up here, tiny bit on the brush. Little goes a long way with this blush. And then I also love it, love it on the Cupid's bow. I had this on my Cupid's bow and one of my other favorites, a tinted lip balm, on with it, and it just looked so incredibly fresh. I just can't explain. The lips just looked perfect. That's all I could say. So beautiful radiance all over the skin. What I'm gonna go ahead and do, since we're just really talking about the skin right now, I want to take my Hydrating Mineral Veil, which I think this was one of my like on the cusp stuff on the horizon that I think is going to be big for me this next month. This Hydrating Mineral Veil was one of those things, and I have been using it so religiously at the end of my face steps, sometimes at the tail end of everything I've done on my face. I come to this, and I'm using this Bare Minerals Full Flawless Face Brush. Use whatever you want, really. It's the finest powder ever. You may have seen a tiny cloud form around me, but I just kind of get the brush loaded up and graze this all over the skin, and I get such a pretty, like, harmonious look of all textures that have been applied. It looks really pretty, like going over the nose, the pores, everything just looks 100% smoothed out and flawless. Like, I love this as a setting powder, just a finishing powder. Hydrating Mineral Veil, must have. So yeah, I'm incredibly happy with that skin. I mean, the color products like the blush and the highlight really make the look sing, you know, but the coverage underneath is actually beautiful and thin, and it's like not too much but just right. And I was really happy to find that under eye corrector that I like so much. Of course, that e.l.f. contour palette's kind of fun to use, but for now I'm just gonna do my brows. Since I don't have a particular brow favorite this month, I'll do that and then we'll do a little eye look. Okay, that took me like no time at all. I did the brows probably like less than a minute, and now here I am back. Popped on a little bit of eye primer, and then I was thinking about like what is my favorite eye palette of the past month, and I feel like I've been giving a ton of attention to my little like Bare Minerals palettes that look like this. I'll link to the recent video where I kind of talked about each one a little bit more. My most recent one is Latte, but I thought today I might use Copper. Copper's kind of my low-key favorite out of this bunch. I just think these little palettes are so nice for just the quick natural look. There's a cooler one that's the Rose. There's a little bit more of a rose gold one that's called Neutral. Copper's kind of fun because it incorporates a few different little tones, but the textures of these shadows, like if you haven't tried Bare Minerals shadows in a while, and you liked some of those classic like iconic duos that they had and quads and stuff like that, the Ready eyeshadow formula, I feel like this is just that continued in a new format, and I love the mirrors on these compacts. They're so great. I'm never gonna use one and not mention the mirror. Let's just bust out some simple, gorgeous everyday here. Let's go to the shade called Truth. I love that there's kind of this mauve-y, just mid-tone shade in here, matte. I got this palette last year when I was in Destin. Sad that I didn't get to go to Destin this year, but we keep saying periodically, just out of the clear blue, I'll be like, bub, next year's Destin trip is going to be the best one ever. But no, they have, in the little shopping area where we like to go, there's a Disney store, and then I think right beside the Disney store, really close to the Disney store, there's actually a Bare Minerals shop, and I got this from there during last year's vacation. I wouldn't have had to have gotten it from an actual Bare Minerals store. You can order it from most anywhere Bare Minerals is sold. But there's that beautiful natural crease. Like, that's kind of the color my crease wants to just take on, period, just on its own. But now it looks finished, right? Just buff it out till there's nothing left to buff, okay? Pretty. Now I'm gonna take Wild Child, which is frankly an extremely tame shade to be called Wild Child, but you know, it could be a little dark and dramatic, this brown. And I'm gonna pat this on the outside, get it a little bit pointed in the crease direction too, just wedged. I wanted to use that because I just thought it made so much sense with my top. My shirt is a really interesting color today. It's like mauve and brown mixed, which is precisely what's on my eyes right now. Over the weekend, you know, Bub's got this Blackstone grill. We got it for him for Father's Day. And he's a person like, it wasn't like, maybe I'd be interested in cooking. Let's see if we get the Blackstone. Like, he really does love to cook. He knew that this was something he was really wanting to get into. So we got him the Blackstone grill. It's like just a flat top griddle type of grill. He got that on Father's Day. There has not been a weekend that's gone by that we have not had multiple meals on that thing, and sometimes throughout the week too. But it's like we also try to do at least one thing on the weekend that's going to generate quite a few leftovers for the week ahead. So like last night it was fried rice. But Saturday night he did just plain old burgers, you know, and they were great, like kind of a smash burger type style. They were just delightful. And it's nice because also on the griddle you can, you know, saute your onions and you can put your mushrooms on there, do some bacon or whatever. It's just awesome. And he loves it. Like going out there, it's not like, oh, I gotta go out and cook something. Like he actually, I think that's his recreational activity that he really likes to do. But the other night we're having these burgers he made and I air fried some fries. It was just a nice little simple meal. And we're sitting at the table with the girls and I've got my like Garth Brooks Amazon radio station. I'm gonna cry just thinking about this. And the girls are still finishing up, so I'm sitting at the table kind of helping them, holding Bubba, trying to like manage him too. Bubba goes out there, he's right outside the window, like cleaning off the grill, and To Make You Feel My Love comes on. And that song, I mean, when you hear that song, particularly when it comes kind of out of the blue, like you weren't really expecting to hear it, and then you listen to those lyrics in that song, like it will make you look at your spouse and kind of fall in love all over again. I just can't explain. It brought tears to my eyes. The girls are looking at me like, what's wrong, mommy? And I just had to like run out the door and give him a huge hug. I mean, Garth's got some hits. He's got some huge songs, but that one might be my favorite one because it's just so incredibly moving and touching. But anyway, it was a nice, happy weekend moment. Let's go to the shade called Trippin', this olive, which is not going to be like the most green that you've ever put on. You know, it's not a grassy green, it's a true olive. But it works with these shades, you know, you can see the green. It's just not going to be a loud green. And that's just, you know, what these palettes are. They're natural, really rooted in neutral, earthy kinds of looks. See that? I've got that padded over like most of the lid. And I love that. It's just like a subtle olive accent. And then I feel like what might be really appropriate right now is this BK Beauty 207 brush, which I really like. I'm going to take my mid-tone mauve now. Again, I really like it for trying to achieve a crease on the inner part here. Because sometimes that's a hard area to blend, and your full-sized, you know, more crease brushes that you really get things going with out in the outer corner, stuff works there, but it doesn't really bring it all in effectively. And this kind of does. See what I mean? Like I've talked about this before, I don't have a super deep crease on the inner part, but this lets that shadow kind of hit that crease but also come above it in just the right amount. Then, you know, if you want to blend, I guess I didn't really do much of a highlight. Let's use Gypsy Matte Cream. Let that just help us blend all the edges. And then this little detail guy over here with Aura. I swear this palette is small, but it's really like everything you need. And let's just hit that inner corner, turn the lights on right there. I love how this is the copper palette, but we may not even use the copper shade today. And then let's just kind of say, hey, green, we don't want you lost in the shuffle. Just patting a little bit more of that on. And this green is, I'm sure you can tell, it's not totally matte. It's got a little bit of a shimmer in there. And then let's take a little Wild Child, again with the 207 that we used in our inner crease. While you got it handy, just kind of let that do some smudgy liner on the lower lash line. When I did my primer, guys, I also just gave myself a little swoop of some light lower inner rim there with the ABH pencil, the Brightening Duo stick. Then I am going to curl the lashes. We're just going to skip liner because it just didn't seem like fun today. And a definite favorite has been this dang Essence Volume Booster Lash Primer. A lot of talk about this in my little video where I reviewed various Essence products. It was a bite-sized review video. But you just get a little bit on there. Don't spend a lot of time coating them up because it just clings to the lashes really well right away. And then top it off with whatever you want. It really enhances and just helps out any mascara that you got. If you got a good mascara, I feel like it makes it even better. If you got a struggling mascara, it's the help that it needed. And I like how quickly it takes to the lashes, requiring very few passes through, so you're not weighing them down too much, okay? That one looked like it got a little bit more though. Here's a little more. Okay. In fact, let's try pairing that with a mascara that I know I really love, my Mally Lift and Curl. This is a beautiful mascara on its own, but I don't think I've ever paired it with the primer yet, so let's just try. Yep, that's some Va Va Voom. I'm so into that. So loving that. Next up for the lips, I got basically two or three favorites here. One of them, when I was talking about the really perfect looking lip, that was coming from this Sugar Bloom lip balm, tinted lip balm. There's like a little bit of a satiny finish in this, but it really does bring a lot of luminosity to the lips. It really looks beautiful on. Since I was wearing it recently, I'll just pop up that picture to show you. I just thought that was so satisfying and lovely on the lips. Plus, I had highlighted that Cupid's bow with that same highlight that I used today, and it just, everything was just singing, you know, it was great. But what I'm going to show you today are really the lipsticks that I've been reaching for most. I think they've got pretty good staying power for being lipsticks, but I really love everything about just the way these lipsticks are. I'm talking about the Sigma Infinity Point. So the way these have been crafted, instead of just being a formed bullet at the tip, that pinched quality to it goes all the way down, and you're never gonna lose that. So you're never gonna end up with a totally rounded off lipstick, because most lipsticks only give you that point like right here, and then it fades to a rounded bullet by the bottom. And here it's, as you can see, it's pointed all the way down. It's gonna stay that way every time. And there are a couple of really beautiful shades in this line that wear so nicely and just give a really pretty look. One of them is Temptation. So let me swatch it so you can see the pure color we're working with there. Like kind of dusty rose, sort of deep. I think this would be beautiful like heading into fall. Not that we're trying to move things along any faster here in 2020, or maybe we are, but magnetic closure, who else loves that? I do. And then the other shade that I love is Deja Vu. And this one is just a little lighter. You might not be able to tell much difference like from these swatches, but in person I can definitely see that this is lighter and a little bit warmer. This is a little deeper and a little cooler. And I love wearing them together. Actually, I'll take Deja Vu and I'll sort of work that in here, center of the lips. You'll really be able to tell the difference here on the lips, because Deja Vu almost looks like a deep nude practically. You know, it just doesn't have that mauve-y rosiness like the other one does. So I kind of focus that there on the center, and then I take Temptation and I sort of work it in from the outsides. I might even go over the Cupid's bow with this one. Like, the neat thing is that your Cupid's bow will always be perfect, because you always have a perfectly formed bullet. But I just kind of like the little bit of light that's happening in the center of the lip. These are cream lipsticks. It is a cream formula, but they're not super shiny. They feel like they've got all the comfort of a cream, but almost like a satin matte kind of finish. Also, because of those magnetic closures, you sort of put them in the vicinity of one another and they magnetize together. So friends, that is my finished look. I absolutely love the way the skin turned out, this brightness on the under eye area. I mean, I credit the corrector, but also, you know, that little splash of the Hourglass powder was pretty nice in that zone. The hydrating mineral veil just all over everything was great. Look at this earthy eye. Woo. It's a little bit smoky, but in a subtle way, you know? And that lip color, I feel like, is perfection for a lot of people. If you only get one, I would say get Temptation, because you can kind of do that lightening trick, probably with some other things you might have that would be similar to Deja Vu. Think of your nudes or your slightly deeper nudes. They pair so pretty with this deep, dusty rose type color, which again, I think going into fall, this is like a must-have shade. I was actually editing the first part of this, and when I did that whole like full face tutorial, I just kind of stopped at the end and signed off, and I'm like, wait, you didn't give the on the horizon, you know, things you want to use a lot in the month to come picks. So here I am, I'm back today to share those few things with you. And also, as I was editing, I was thinking, girl, your hair needs some volume back in it. So I actually ran a curling iron through this today and teased it up a bit. But I just wanted to share some of those things that, you know, maybe haven't really achieved favorites status yet, because maybe they just haven't been part of my collection for that long, but they're products that I just foresee being really hot for me in the coming months. So here's one thing, this e.l.f. Ride or Die Lip Balm. I love these. I think these are such a top-notch quality, really luxurious feeling lip balm actually. There were several shades that I have, and in my e.l.f. video I tried all those on. One of my favorites though, this very everyday shade called Tough Cookie. Is it called Tough? Yeah. Tough Cookie is what I've got on my lips today. It's so everyday, so easy. There's like a thickness to these balms and a glossiness. They seem so much more expensive than they are, and also a really nice sweet smell. And what I actually did for the full look, I have a lip liner that coordinates so well with this, and it's Purely Nude from Maybelline. It's the shaping lip liner. So I just took this all over the lips and really got a nice defined edge, and then you just squeeze a little bit of this out. I like how they don't even put that rounded tip here. Like, they're not pretending like we're gonna go like this for the application of the product, but you just get some off on your finger, smooth it around, and it's just so surprisingly opaque. That's gonna be the first thing that hits you, and then the thickness and just a nice, rich, moisturizing feel. So I really like these, and I think I'm gonna get a lot of use out of especially this one in the month to come. Here's another thing, my Smashbox Cali Contour palette. This is not a new thing, but it's relatively new to me because I purchased it just within the last couple of weeks, and I think it's so nice. I really enjoy this for just having all those face steps all in one, like a nice cool contour, a bronzer. You can always mix those and sort of adjust the shade that you have. There's a really pretty blush here. I'm wearing all this stuff today, by the way. A matte powder that is so nice and brightening if you want to use it as under eye setting powder. And then 2 different tones of glowy highlight. Plus, in a recent video, I had just thrown this on my eyes real quick, and it was really the simplest look because these shades aren't super deep. But it created the most like casual, effortless looking eye, and I actually got quite a few compliments on that. When I first mentioned it in the QVC video, a lot of you guys were like, oh my gosh, I swear by that palette. So maybe if you've had it in your stash for a while, this might remind you to pick it up again, because I think I'm gonna be using mine a lot. Also, you guys, I cannot look past a good $5 bargain Profusion palette. And when they came out with the violet one, you know, that really pretty purple one that I've talked about before, there were a number of different color families that came out at that time. I know they had a green one and they had a mauve one, and I couldn't get my hands on that at first. But after a few more Walmart pickup orders, they got it back in stock, and I got myself the mauves. And this is even prettier than I thought it was gonna be, you guys. And I would even not so much think of it as a mauve palette, but a burgundy palette, because some of your more statement shades here are really rich burgundy shades, one with a bit more brown, one that's really like winey, you know, and they make such a statement. And then some of these mid-tones, these mid-tone mattes are so beautiful. I've got a lot of this ballad shade actually in my crease, and a mix of these in the outer corner, and some of this on my lid. So it's a mostly matte look today. I don't think I even incorporated any shimmer except maybe the innermost corner, but there's some beautiful statement shimmers. In another look I did, I worked in a few of those. They're just dazzling and so pigmented. Everything in here is so nice to work with. You just can't go wrong with the little Profusion palettes. $5 is an absolute steal. It is the biggest steal going in makeup right now, period. I mean, we talk about those nice little $3 e.l.f. bite-sized palettes, but you're only getting 4 shades. Here you're gonna pay $2 more and you're gonna get 10 shades, and they're all super consistent quality. Literally can't pick it apart for any reason. The shade pairings are always so smart in these. They always give you the nicest balance of light, medium, and dark, matte and shimmer, you know, glitzy and natural. It's all really well balanced. So I just feel like I'm gonna have a hard time keeping my hands off of this palette for the month to come. Also, a couple of these shades might make like pretty natural blushes. I'm thinking of this lovely color right there, maybe a mauve-y blush. I just think it's a great little like summer into fall transition-y palette. And a last little thing here that I've really been starting to enjoy the end of this month, and I see myself using it a lot going forward, is my little Tula stick here. This is the Rose Glow and Get It Cooling and Brightening Eye Balm. And I've already tried the one in the like turquoise packaging, and that one's fine. You know, I didn't feel like it was over the top cooling. It gave me a little moisture. I'm now storing it in the makeup fridge for when I do want to use it. But this one, I feel on its own, it just has a little bit more of a color payoff. And I find myself, if I ever want to touch up my makeup, I feel like I enjoy using this more as a touch-up thing. Like, it does feel really good on the skin, but if you want to give yourself a little boost and a little added pick-me-up, and also a little added moisture, like to the under eye area and top of the cheek, I find myself dabbing this on, pressing it in, and feeling kind of like revived. Revived from a moisture standpoint, but I've also got like a little newfound brightness there too. Like, you really see some brightening from that stick, and it goes beyond what the other one was doing. And it's not like a loud metallic or frosted pink, you know, it's just a really bright brightening glow. And if you apply it real sheer, just get a little bit on the fingertip and even take it right up to, you know, those little under eye creases that can start looking a little dry, I feel like it really helps. And if you take it straight from the stick, that's when you really feel the cooling. At room temperature, I feel more cooling out of this stick than the other one. Let me know if you feel the same. But those are just my little extra picks at the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.